Okay, good morning. Yeah, I know. I am very late here trying to get this thing started. Uh, I guess it's not only was it one hell of a weekend, but it's turning out to be one heck of a day. I mean, I'm absolutely shocked. I mean, I started an hour and a half ago prepping for this, well, 2 hours ago actually, prepping for the stream. And I was working on my thumbnail, and my thumbnail disappeared. So I'm starting to recreate my thumbnail, and I'm, digging up all the pictures and everything again that I was going to use. Hey, morning, Digi. You're the first one in. Oh, I better go ahead and send Ramen an invite because I didn't even get a chance to do that yet. So let me get her an invite sent. Her and Dar. Come on. What is going on with this today? All right, got the invite sent. Okay, so let's see here. Where do I want to start? First of all, this weekend, man, the stuff that has happened this weekend, the past 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and may even want to include part of Monday already this morning. First of all, I hope everybody has stayed warm and that those who got snow, that are used to getting snow, got the snow that they were expecting and not a whole ton more. And those of us that don't get snow on a regular basis, like it once every 20 or 30 years, I didn't get any snow here. That's because it only got cold for a few hours, cold enough for a few hours for us to get snow. And even though we've gotten a lot of rain, we didn't get snow. But I did walk out of work Sunday morning, yesterday morning. Walked out of work yesterday, and my windows were absolutely frosted over. And of course, I had to move some stuff in the back of my truck the other day. And one of the things I keep in the bed of my truck is a scraper. I know it's an ice scraper, but I use it for scraping seagull poop off my windshield. It works well for that, getting that dried seagull poop off my windshields and other bird poop, but mostly seagulls. I don't know why seagulls like pooping on my windshield, but they do. And as far inland as I am, I'm surprised we get seagulls, but we do on occasion. So Spanky's laying next to me. He was colder than all get out earlier, so I put his light blanket over him, and now he's stretching out. He's gotten comfortable. I'll pull the blanket down a little bit further off of him so he doesn't overheat. If he curls back up, I'll cover him back up again. That's how I tell when he's cold, is his body positioning when he's asleep. But so let's go ahead and start with this video here. I'm going to start off with these California fires. And I'm more than a little pissed off about what's going on here. You will have to work damned hard to convince me that the federal government should be stepping in like Biden has and say he's going to cover 100% of the first 6 months worth of expenditures. When he said that, he had less than 10 or less than 15 days left in office. Today's the 13th. There's exactly 1 week from today, 7 days and 3 hours from now. Less than 3 hours. Biden will no longer be president. But he's making promises to California and Los Angeles and such for 6 months worth of federal money. Our tax dollars. And it's not that I'm pissed off that the money's going to California. It's that the money that did not go to North Carolina, to Tennessee, and the parts of Florida after they got hit by 2 hurricanes. And the fact, hey, Data, good morning to you, sir. And the fact that FEMA representatives had officially stated that their people could avoid going to houses that had Trump posters in front. Anybody that gave signs of supporting Trump, they were to be considered hostile individuals. And they could be ignored for federal help. Simply because of who they supported in a political campaign. But because so many, California, especially the Los Angeles area, has so many big money actors and other Democratic supporters. Biden wants to write them a blank check. Biden wants to write him a blank check for 6 months. Now, they're saying, well, California got so devastated, LA got so devastated. The fires, the damage caused by these fires could have been greatly reduced if California had only done what they've been told to do for the past 15 years. Clean up the brush. Build in fire breaks. Keep your water basins full. Don't go diverting water to the ocean simply because you got some 3-inch fish in there. That is ridiculous. And then their fire department pushing DEI, pushing for women specifically. And the vice or assistant fire chief sitting there saying that if a man needs a woman to carry him out of a fire, well, he got himself in a wrong place. And the chief of the fire department, having as her number one position, her number one goal is to recruit as many women firefighters as possible. Not about preventing fires, not about doing the things needed for fire prevention and firefighting. The state requiring that all these fire trucks coming in to help them had to go to Sacramento first to be inspected and approved by the state before they could go down there to fight the fires. Then have to be inspected and approved again by the state before they can leave. And the fact that California gave up so much of their fire equipment to Ukraine to get the Ukraine's fire departments up to speed while ignoring their own? And yes, the number of people they fired because they refused to get COVID shots, because they refused to get the jab. Now, like I said, I got the jab. I got the first two, but that was because I needed to, I really weighed hard because, I've got the immune deficiencies and everything else going on in my life. So, and I listened to the scare tactics. So I got the Moderna shots. But these people are turning around and used and abused so much. And then, like I think it was Digi, may have been Data, just stated that they've got, I forget the exact percentage of their vehicles out of order because they fired so many of their mechanics. Once again, so I'm not against helping California. What I am against is rewarding their stupidity. That's what I'm against, rewarding their stupidity. I watched an interview with Newsom this morning on NBC. The interview wasn't from this morning, obviously, but that's when I watched it. And it was, Trump has been so mean to you. What are you going to do about it when he becomes president? It wasn't about, there was nothing about how he screwed up the state or how the state screwed up on these fires. It wasn't about that. It was about what are you going to do to protect yourself from Trump when he becomes president? I mean, what utter nonsense is this? That just absolutely and totally irritates the daylights out of me. Now, I've got this video here I'm going to show you, a little TikTok video of a young lady that lives up in that area of the North Carolina, Tennessee area of the country. And she's been working hard. She was lucky. Her house was damaged, but it wasn't destroyed. And she's been working hard at helping her neighbors. Whoops, I don't want that. I want this. And she brings up some good points here. So let's listen to this young lady.
Western North Carolina. It's Sunday, January 12th, and I woke up ill as a hornet today. I'm mad all over. I want to preface this by saying that my thoughts and prayers are with California, and I truly mean that. Nobody should have to endure such as that. And I'm happy for them that they've been issued a blank check to help with their recovery and that no expense is being spared. But where was this blank check, this carte blanche, when our people were drowning and being pulled out of the mud and still being pulled out of the mud? There's heavy media coverage of the wildfires, but most of the country doesn't even know what's going on here in Appalachia. All these celebrities that are coming out all tearful on social media. Where was all this emotion for the people of Appalachia? It's almost as if us dumb mountain folk don't matter. Y'all
That and that's the exact feeling that I get. That according to the Biden administration, dumb mountain folk don't matter. They're not the Hollywood elite or living near the Hollywood elite or servicing the Hollywood elite. These are just normal people living their lives day to day.
Y'all know I ain't lying. Y'all know we're in the midst of one of the worst natural disasters in American history. Our people are still suffering in ways you can't even imagine. Still. And this is 4 months post Hurricane Helene. People are still living in tents and cars. Please tell me how that's okay. Somebody.
Look at that snow. Look at that background. And there's people living, like she said, in tents and cars. They went to there. Many people went in to build tiny homes. And the first group of people that went into with donations of tiny homes for these people to live in, the city or the county kicked them out, made them pull them down. Because they didn't meet some codes. They were only meant to be there as temporary shelters. So people weren't sleeping on the ground and had good walls around them to protect them from the nature, from the weather. They weren't there to be lived in as permanent homes. And the county made them remove them because they didn't live up to the standards of a permanent home, which they were never intended to be.
Riddle me that. People that are in hotel rooms sponsored by FEMA that are fixing to get kicked out in a day or two, and they have nowhere to go. They're being kicked out, and we're covered up in snow and ice, and it's 16 degrees out there right now. And these are mostly women and children and elderly. Tax-paying citizens, mind you. I had water damage to my home, but my insurance company denied the claim, and FEMA denied me that whopping $750, but they did offer me a hotel stay. But since my home is livable, thank goodness, I didn't take them up on it. But still yet, the other day, I got an email from them saying I was being kicked out of the hotel. They don't even know who's staying in these places. Our people are begging for basic necessities, housing, food, stuff to keep them warm. I don't know how FEMA decides who to help and who not to help.
We know damn well how FEMA decided to help and who not to help in this situation. They weren't there to help everybody. They're there to help as few people as possible. And they absolutely hated it when people went in of their own accord to help people.
Who to make jump through hoops, and people have lost their income. Their places of business were destroyed or have gone bankrupt, or they've lost their means of transportation because their car was destroyed in the hurricane, or they got fired because they had to stay home with their young'uns when the schools and the daycares were closed. There's still so many areas here that look like a nuclear bomb went off. It makes me almost throw up just driving through some of these areas, the ones you can actually drive through now. Families have been separated. Some people have had to send their kids to live across the country with other family members because
This administration is more concerned about keeping illegals' families together than American citizens' families together that have been through this in the in North Carolina and Tennessee. Think about that. Every day when immigration comes up, you hear the Biden administration and Democrats yelling and screaming about keeping illegals' families together. Family separation, how evil that is on illegals. Yet when it comes to American citizens, they don't give a damn about keeping these families together after a natural disaster in an area that they could care less about, that they couldn't care less about. Let me get my phraseology correct.
They just simply can't provide. Funding has run out for the people that were helping with rental assistance, people whose homes were deemed uninhabitable by FEMA, and it's thousands of them, aren't getting enough money or any money to help them rebuild. So they're having to do it on their own and they just can't afford it. The elderly who don't know how to navigate social media, some of them are just being found by happenstance in their homes that really they shouldn't even be there because of the mold, and they're being hospitalized for lung infections. And babies hadn't stopped being born in the midst of this. Domestic violence hadn't stopped. People are having to escape and go to safety, and there's nowhere to go. Yes, the Amish have come and built tiny houses. And thank goodness for the individuals and the businesses who have donated tiny homes and campers. With some of the campers, they don't know how to winterize them. The people that have them, I wouldn't know how to winterize them. So the pipes are freezing, and so they're not getting heat and water. And it's just been a big learning curve. And there's some people still without electricity, if you can imagine that. But it's the absolute truth. I'm still doing all I can for disaster relief. I don't put it all on here. I just don't think that's necessary. But I still have a garage full of supplies that I'm giving out. I'm networking with people. The need is just so massive. And a lot of y'all have reached out to me asking where did
This young lady's been working hard on trying to meet the needs of other people in North Carolina and West Tennessee. She's been working hard trying to help out. But she's just one person doing as much as she can. And she's not doing it for the praise. She's doing it because she's trying to fill the need that her neighbors.
donate, where to go, what to do. And I'm just getting so frustrated because I don't even know what to tell y'all anymore. The need is just so great. And again, I don't want to be accused of speaking with a forked tongue. I really do hope and pray the best for California and for a quick recovery. I do think citizens in Los Angeles are beginning to see that people that they thought had their back don't have their back. While I'm ill and mad on the one hand, on the other hand, I am so thankful and so grateful for those of y'all from all over the country, including California, who've come to help us out. I really don't know where we'd be without y'all and without us neighbors helping neighbors, us Appalachians. We look out for each other, and we're going to be okay somehow, some way. Anyway, I reckon I've said my piece, so the end.
That young lady's been working her butt off as much as she can to help out. Hey, Neil, welcome. Sora, it's good to see you, young lady. How you doing? We can't let what's gone on, and again, I realize that that the vast majority of people who've lost their homes and lost their businesses due to these California fires aren't the famous, aren't the wealthy, aren't that upper 2% of the population. I realize that. I understand that. Those people deserve all the help that they can get. Where I'm pissed about is that we're having to do it even though simply because the state and the cities were more concerned about housing immigrants, illegal immigrants, giving illegals free medical than they were about doing the proper fire prevention activities that they needed to do to prevent a fire and all the damage that's been going on. That's what gets me. Oh, I'm going into work later today. Yeah. Oh. And on the news, you don't see them you see them interviewing their favorite actors and actresses. Now, one actor who got a lot of interviews at the beginning was Gutenberg. But he was getting interviews not because he lost his home, but because Steve Gutenberg, but because he was out there helping move vehicles so the fire trucks could get through. He was out there getting his hands dirty. And he got caught, he got interviewed several times. One of the, I couldn't believe one of the articles I read about these California fires is how the police weren't allowing private security to go up to secure the homes of the rich and famous to prevent looting. And these people anonymously, of course, because they don't want to get their name out there, were complaining and how their homes were potentially being robbed, and they couldn't get their private security to their homes to protect them. Now, I've worked as private security before. I did it for several years. And I did it at a gated community, which I got fired because I left a note on the trash can and complained to and filed a complaint with the property management company that their landscapers were trashing the security office during the day when we weren't there. And we'd come in the afternoons. And from their security ran from 3 p.m. to 7 a.m. We'd come in the afternoon and find the security area building trashed on the inside because their landscapers had access to it. But anyway. I'm glad that these wealthy people can afford to hire security. But what about the other person who can't afford to hire security? Aren't their possessions just as important? Just as important to them? Now, I saw a video of some firemen coming out of one home, and they were carrying out photo albums that they found and stacking them up so that they didn't get lost in the aftermath. And that's something, I didn't think you would see. You're exactly right, Sora. The fact that there are people out there looting. Oh. You got the neighbors out there trying to help each other, which is always a good thing. You've got them out there trying to help. But there's not a whole heck of a lot they can do. Well, data, I mean, that's a problem almost anywhere you go, depending on the landscape. And, uh, I know a lot of rural areas, the roads aren't very wide to start with. So, and there's not a whole lot of people out there doing doing biking, and I'm sure that those trucks can. Nobody's going to complain about the fire trucks going up and down and using the bike paths. Or you talk about, using the bike paths, to drive on. Nobody's going to complain about that. Or if they do, that's really another level of stupidity. And that's what I was going to name this stream. That's what I was, the stupidity arises. The stupidity people is rising right now. What some people are saying. This is just stupidity in my own opinion, of course. But well, I mean, if you're saying that they took existing roadways and narrowed the roadway and to put bike paths on the existing road, that's, I mean, once again, the fire trucks are going to do what the fire trucks need to do. They're going to drive on grass. They're going to drive on concrete. They're going to drive where they need to drive. Nobody's going to, nobody should get upset that oh my God, they rode on the bike path going up to put out fires. So, okay, something just got an ad kicking off in my ear from the next story I want to talk about here. I've talked about before how this administration is doing everything they can to thumb their nose at Trump. They know what Trump has said he wants to do. And they're doing everything they can to make it as hard as they can on Trump. They're not trying to work with him at all. Start off with selling parts of the wall that was laying on the ground still for 4 years. For pennies on the dollar. Then they get all pissed off when one of the departments of Texas started buying them up and saying that they were going to donate those segments of the wall to Trump so that he can go ahead and get them put up. Exactly, Neil. That's the level of stupidity I'm talking about, California. turning trucks away because they didn't meet the emissions standards, turning help away. And they want to sit there and blame the insurance companies. They tried playing the insurance company blame game there for a while, and they're still going to try to do it. But it made news as to why the insurance companies are pulling out. Because the insurance companies made it quite clear. Because the cities and the state had not done their job to prevent forest fires like this by cleaning up the dead undergrowth, by building fire breaks. And they said, we just can't afford to, it's too high of a risk. And the city and the state had been warned, not just by Trump, but by experts, that they were just one bad wind away from having a major problem. But the cities and the states refused to do what they needed to do. And that's why I'm so pissed off. That's why, I'm really angry that Biden is writing them a blank check for 6 months. And realistically, yes, Trump could go in there and say, nah, we're not doing that. We're not honoring that. But all that's going to do then is give 4 years worth of even more negative press. And more reasons to attack Trump, to attack him. Oh, he doesn't care for you. Look, California, Los Angeles is a Democratic stronghold, so he withheld money to help out the the people here simply because they're Democrats, or because we have a large number of illegals. He hates illegals. You can see that press rolling now. If he doesn't keep up with the plans that the Democrats, that Biden has pushed in. Sora, I wouldn't be surprised. But being as they are coming from Canada, they may get just pushed through. And speaking of illegals, Mayorkas extends deportation shield for an eye-popping number of illegal immigrants ahead of Trump, I bet. The move protects hundreds of thousands of illegals from deportation. The Biden administration on Friday announced the extension of deportation protections for hundreds of thousands of illegals from a slew of countries just weeks before the incoming Trump administration is expected to launch a historic deportation operation. The Department of Homeland Security announced its extended temporary protected status for El Salvador, Venezuela, Sudan, and the Ukraine for an additional 18 months beyond their current expirations. TPS grants protection from deportation and work permits for nationals living in the U.S. from countries deemed unsafe for them to be returned. Now, this is what gets me. DHS cited environmental disasters, including storms and heavy rainfall for El Salvador. And if you're going to give weather, use weather as a reason to allow people to illegally stay in the country, people who illegally entered the country, to allow them to stay because they got bad weather. It also cited the political and economic crisis in Venezuela. Okay, Venezuela does have a political crisis. It really does. Venezuela, but really for that country, it's nothing new. And again, these people illegally entered our country to start with. And you know, I've got how I feel about that. I don't care what you're trying to escape from. You don't enter our country illegally. And Venezuela, why didn't they go to stay in Mexico? Why didn't they stay in Mexico, a country much closer to their own culture and languages, rather than coming to the United States? Stay back where they could get in touch with their family and friends. A lot easier. It's not like the United States and Venezuela are next door neighbors. A lot of them are. You're right, Data. A lot of them are. Let's see here. Uh, oh, come on. You know, you type in that you want a map of the Western world or the Western Hemisphere, and you get everything but. And that is such a crappy map, you can't read none of the countries' names. Man, why do they do this? I'm uh, let's see if this is any better. Okay, here we go. This is a little bit better. Really not much, though. Anyway, Venezuela, as we can tell, I mean, they could have gone, if they were afraid of Venezuela, they could have gone Colombia. They could have gone to Brazil. They could have gone to Peru, Ecuador. There's all kind of countries right there in South America that they could have gone to. They could have gone to Panama. They could have stayed in Mexico. So it's not like, I mean, it's not like they just traveled next door and ended up in the United States. Okay, Digi, you have a good day at work, all right? It's not like they just walked next door and came into the United States, or the United States was the only country they could go to and have a similar culture, similar languages. Also, cite, okay, uh, let's see here, political instability in the Sudan. Again, how many countries next door to the Sudan could they have gone to and found countries with the similar language, similar religious beliefs, again, largely Muslim? And the ongoing conflict in the Ukraine. If there are any males here from the Ukraine between 18 and 45, they should be sent back to Ukraine. Let them fight their war. I may acknowledge the need to allow women and children from the Ukraine to be here until this whole mess there is straightened out, ended. But to have military age men here, no. These moves do not redesignate countries for the status, meaning only those currently protected by TPS are eligible for the extension, and new applications can be received. Venezuela's extension, 600,000 people. El Salvador, 232,000. Ukraine, 103,000. Again, that should only be women and children. The Sudan, about 2,000 people. So once again, these people that entered our country illegally, I don't care where they're from or why they left. Unless they're from Mexico or Canada, they should have gone to neighboring countries, not here. Countries with similar languages, similar cultures, similar religious beliefs, not here. That's where I have a problem with what this administration is doing. Again, they're thumbing their nose, doing everything they can to throw roadblocks in at Trump before he takes office. Like I said last week, I'm not for necessarily shortening the time period between the election and the certification of votes and the swearing in of the new president. I'm not necessarily for that. I'm also not for necessarily restricting the ability of the president, the lame duck president, from doing their job. But damn it, this administration is really making it hard for me to hold that position or those positions. It's really making it hard. And I don't want to be one of those people that just because one person did something I didn't like or one administration did something I didn't like, I'm going to punish all future administrations. I'm not going to hamstring future presidents. Because you don't know, you don't have a magic ball to read the future and see what's going to go on. We don't have that. And the president is still the president. Whether he's got 3 years left in office or 3 days or 3 hours, he's still the president. And it doesn't matter what party they're from. They're still the president of the United States up until the moment the new president is sworn in. Trump's doing a lot of things that's sort of unprecedented. I mean, he's already got Canada and Greenland, or Greenland? Yeah, I think it's Greenland. Or was it Iceland? Either way, he's still got countries coming to him trying to make deals now. He's got NATO. He's got all the NATO countries starting to, because they know what he's going to say when he gets into office. He knows what he's going to be about. Because he was saying it before. The NATO countries need to step up and pay their fair share of the bill and have the proper numbers of troops, the proper numbers of equipment. So that's a given. And NATO and the NATO alliance countries are already starting to get their act together like they should have. All right, Dana, well, you try to have a good day now, all right? So what's next here? Oh, yeah. Last week, reptilian Zuckerberg, the head of Meta, Facebook, Instagram, etc., he made some announcements that the Democrats don't like. That the consulting company, largely filled with former CNN and Democrat employees. Yeah, a lot of former CNN employees worked for this company as fact checkers. And it was amazing how everybody they fact checked and announced that they were wrong in what they were saying. It was amazing how all of a sudden they're upset because they're now out of a job because they thought that was a job they're going to have forever. Pushing and spin the Democrat lie. Well, Biden had a reaction to it.
The whole idea of walking away from fact checking, as well as not reporting anything having to do with discrimination regarding the TPS, I find to be just contrary to American justice, the way we talk about one another. Telling the truth matters.
Telling the truth matters. Joe, you've been lying, and your administration has been lying to the American people for over 4 years. You've been lying to the American people for the past 40 years. You wouldn't know the truth if it came up and bit you on the butt and punched you in the nose. Saying that you believe that telling the truth is important is like me saying eating greens at every meal is something I do, because I don't. Last night, my idea of greens last night was cooked bell peppers with rice and tomatoes. That was my greens last night.
I mean, I know I'm on national television, but you all are local reporters and national reporters. I'm not, this is not a legit, real question, but what do you think? You think it doesn't matter that they let be printed where millions of people read it, things that are simply not true? I mean, I don't know what that's all about.
Joe, if they didn't print stuff that wasn't true, most of the stuff that your administration had done wouldn't have been printed. Remember, people have a right to their own opinion, Joe. Now, if their opinion is based on false facts, which I'll get to, something that I had believed, and I'm still a bit iffy on. But facts matter, but people's opinion matters. And there's been too many times that what you guys labeled as incorrect and lies were the truth. You know, for how long? You had 54 intelligence agents come out and tell us that Hunter's laptop was a lie. It was a Russian conspiracy. Remember that? And YouTube and Facebook and everybody else came out and said that was, that anybody who believed that was actually Hunter's laptop was believing a lie. You remember that, Joe? I do. I remember you spreading the lie and having the newspapers, 60 Minutes, MSNBC, CBS, ABC, NBC, the New York Times. You had everybody spreading the lie that wasn't Hunter's laptop. when it was clearly was Hunter's laptop. But for political purposes, you had them spread lies. So I don't want to, Joe, the hypocrisy of you coming out and claiming that fact checkers need to be there to prevent people from lying, when all these fact checkers are, they're pushing lies themselves. Now, am I trying to say, or am I saying that there's no groups out there on the Republican side or conservative side spreading lies? No, I'm not. Because there's going to be people passing out lies and mistruths and half-truths on all sides of the political sphere. But when all the fact checkers are from the same political side of that political sphere, and they're letting their opinions prove what is and isn't, what is and is not fact, they're letting their own political opinions make those determinations. That's where the problem lies. And that's one of the reasons why I do like what Musk has done with X. I come out in total shock because I'm not a daily X user. But I got asked to be one of their people to research the comments that X has. And I accepted. So, I mean, I when I'm on X, I go through and I look at some of these things, and I look at the, the quote unquote fact checks put up by other people. And I go through and read their posts, and I make my evaluation of what they've said. And it goes in. So they're taking, and I mean, when I do it, I do it seriously. Yeah, community notes there, Sora. I got asked to be a person who evaluates community notes. You want to talk about absolutely flabbergasted, I was. Because like I said, I'm not a person that's on X every day. But the community notes is a much better system, at least the way it's run on X, from what I've seen, than what Facebook was doing in the past.
It's just completely contrary to everything America's about. We want to tell the truth. We haven't always done it as a nation, but we want to tell the truth.
You haven't done it as a person, Joe. No, people in your administration haven't done it. And you stood there and supported them lying. because it benefited you.
And the idea that, a billionaire can buy something and say, by the way, from this point on, we're not gonna fact check anything. And when you have millions of people going online, reading this stuff, it is, anyway.
I got news for you, Joe. When people post a story and they're not truthful in what they're posting, other people come up behind them and post links, not just community notes, but just, no, you're wrong, and here's a link to the truth. So you don't have to have a paid fact checker on social media. You got a world full of fact checkers sitting out there who are more than willing to do it for free. It's just your fact checkers you want to have there all support you in your lies.
I think it's really shameful.
Yeah, the shame is what you've been doing, Joe. Okay, Sora, you have a wonderful day, and thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you for stopping by. I do love it when you stop by. Okay, thank you much. All right, let's see here. Let's see. Here's a story. Get up here. This is a story. Who wrote this? Dominic Patton. He wrote this 2 days ago about what Zuckerberg and what Trump or Biden just said. Okay. Facing a Trump 1.0 initiated antitrust trial this spring over Meta's acquisition of Instagram and WhatsApp, have created a social media monopoly. Zuckerberg has been twisting himself up like a pretzel to please Trump. Pilgrimages to Mar-a-Lago, promoting a former GOP operative to be his top communications guy, and a $1 million donation to the inauguration fund have been just a few of the tactics employed by the billionaire to gain the former celebrity apprentice's good graces. Now, remember 4 years ago, over 4 years ago, when Facebook, Zuckerberg, spent millions of dollars to get out Democratic vote. Put ballot boxes in Democratic areas. And like I said, pushed the lie that that laptop didn't belong to Hunter. Pushed that lie hard. People on Facebook and Instagram lost their accounts over it. And let's not even go into what he did about COVID. the lies that they pushed about that Facebook and Instagram pushed about COVID. So, I mean, he spent millions of dollars. And I don't know how much he's donated to the Biden's inauguration. I'm sure he did. Mirroring in many ways the position of first buddy and ex-owner Elon Musk, Zuckerberg was at least upfront about his ditching of fact-checking. He's not ditching fact-checking. He's going to community notes. If you look at X's community notes, there's community notes to correct other community notes. The recent elections also feel like a cultural tipping point towards once again prioritizing speech. A very surf bro looking Zuckerberg said in a video posted earlier in the week. Surf bro. You tell me there's not a bias here. So we're going back to our roots and focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our policies, and restoring the free expression on our platforms. One of the problems I think with 230, and we've gone over 230 with fine tooth comb. I've gone over it. Monkey's gone over it. A lot of other people have gone over 230. But one of the biggest problems with 230 is saying that if because they got a choice between a platform of free expression or moderated content. The problem is if they're moderated content, then they're held liable for the content that's posted. But if they're not moderated, then they're not liable for the content being posted. As long as the content does not break the law. I mean, advertising hit jobs, advertising or trying to organize riots, that kind of stuff. That's illegal, and any place, that stuff gets pulled. I'm for free expression. I'm for free expression. But even so, I do believe that there are limits. You can't organize riots. You can organize a protest, but you can't organize a riot. And there is a difference. You can't be out there, endorsing the murder of somebody or the physical abuse of somebody. Trying to, get somebody hurt or killed. So yes, I do understand that there are limits, but these limits have been placed in law a long time ago and have withstood the scrutiny of the Supreme Court. Now, I did say things that was legitimately bad stuff like drugs, terrorism, child exploitation would still be moderated on Meta social media platforms, but acknowledge that filters are likely not going to stop everything. And that's where people, you, me, all of us, we notify them that a post needs to come down, that a post isn't good, that's breaking the law. But part of that 230 again, says, hey, even you can if you are a unmoderated, a free expression site, you can still violate people's First Amendment rights. And again, as far as I'm concerned, if you're going to be an unmoderated free expression zone, Other than things that break the law, you got to let it go. Okay, I don't need that because I've already played that video. Found another place for it. Now, Zuckerberg was on the Rogan show when he talked about this.
These people from the Biden administration would call up our team and like scream at them and curse. And it's like these documents it's all kind of out there.
Did
And
you record any of those phone calls?
I don't think we were, but I think,
I want to listen.
I mean, there are emails, the emails are published. It's all kind of out there. And,
See, the Biden admin, remember the Twitter files? Well, it just wasn't Twitter. It was Facebook. And Zuckerberg here is admitting it, that the Biden administration was coming after them. To push their lies or to hide truths they didn't like.
and they're like, and basically it just got to this point where we were like, no, we're not gonna take down things that are true. That's ridiculous.
Here's some more of this interview that he did.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
I was really worried from the beginning about basically becoming this sort of decider of what is true in the world, right? That's like kind of a
Right.
crazy position to be in for billions of people using your service.
And, that's not his job. If he's wanting to be be a place where people can communicate ideas, he can't know what the truth is for everybody. Because what's true in California, as we all know, isn't true even in Nevada, let alone Florida or Ohio or Washington, D.C., let alone other countries.
So we tried to put in place a system that would deal with it. And early on tried to basically make it so that it was really limited. We're like, all right, we're just going to have the system where there's these third-party fact checkers and they can check the worst of.
And the third-party fact checkers mostly came from CNN and the Biden administration. Or the DNC. Let me rephrase that. The DNC.
The worst stuff, right? So things that are very clear hoaxes, that there's it's not like we're not parsing speech about whether something is slightly true or slightly false, like Earth is flat, things like that, right? So that was sort of the original intent. We put in place the system and it just sort of veered from there. I think to some degree, it's because some of the people whose job is to do fact checking, a lot of their industry is focused on political fact checking. So they're just kind of
political fact checking and their own opinions swayed into it, caused the problems. I'm not going to play all that. That's 15 minutes. And as nice as Rogan is, I don't think he'd appreciate me playing 15 minutes of his video. I would probably end up getting pretty well busted for that. But you need to go and listen to this whole this 15-minute interview, or this portion of it, because it is pretty interesting. This I caught this morning. This next story, I caught this morning, and it absolutely surprised the hell out of me. Okay. with a $25 million reward on his capture. Venezuela's Maduro moots Brazil-led liberation of Puerto Rico. Okay, this story is from this morning. Okay, that's this guy right here. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro has proposed a campaign to liberate Puerto Rico from the control of the United States, suggesting Brazilian forces lead the effort. Speaking at the International Anti-Fascist World Festival in Venezuela. Think about that. An anti-fascist World Festival being held in Venezuela. Anybody else catching the irony in that? I mean, I find the idea that Venezuela would be holding anything dealing anti-fascist as beyond stupid, beyond silly. Maduro invoked the legacy of Simon Bolivar, saying the independence of Puerto Rico is still pending and we will achieve it with the forces of Brazil and the Abre Lima Battalion leading the way. Now, Puerto Rico has voted for independence. All right, and let's see here. I'm trying to. Okay, they've voted for independence is for the 7th time last year, November 5th. As soon as Wikipedia gets their story up here, let me share this. On November 5th, 2024, Puerto Rico held a non-binding referendum alongside the 2024 Puerto Rican general election and the U.S. election. This is the 7th status referendum held amidst a long-running debate of the island's political status. Puerto Rican voters were presented with 3 choices: statehood, independence, and free association. All right, this is the first time maintaining the island's current status as United States territory was not an option. So these people have got the option. You know, they're voting for how they want to be, for what they want in their country. 58.2% voted they wanted to become a state. 29.54% for free association. And only 12.27% voted for independence. Only 12.27% voted for independence. The vast majority want to become a state. But this guy from Brazil thinks that he is going to send the Brazilian army in and free Puerto Rico from the mighty nasty grip of the United States. No, I'm not ready to accept Puerto Rico as a state. All right. I'm really not. I do not want Puerto Rico to become a state. If Puerto Rico let's see. I mean, the it's too damn corrupt. We can't afford to take on the corruption of that island, of that country, as an issue for us to deal with. The people of Puerto Rico need to take care of that corruption within their own country. I'm not even happy with having the people of Puerto Rico being U.S. citizens, to be honest. I'm not happy. I don't like that idea. I'm not happy with that. But it is what it is. But I don't think it's time to confer statehood on it. Not until they get their country financially stable. We got enough problem with our own states having some corrupt states and cities and having massive debt. That we don't need to be taking on another country and the debt that they've got. Anyway, the remarks came during the festival attended by 2,000 participants from 125 nations, days after Maduro's controversial inauguration for a third term. His presidency has faced widespread international condemnation, with the U.S., U.K., Canada, and the EU imposing sanctions on the Venezuelan officials. Last week, the outgoing Biden administration increased its reward for information leading to the arrest or conviction of Maduro on drug trafficking charges to $25 million from the previous 15. It's also issued $25 million rewards for Interior Minister Diosdado and Cabela, and a $15 million for Defense Minister. So yeah, they've got issues that but to have the Venezuelan president sit there and say he's going to join up with Brazil to free the Puerto Rico from the United States, that's about a joke and a half. And let's see here. What else was there? Oh, yeah. The ATF director, Stephen Dettelbach, has resigned. Because he knows his job, that he wouldn't be there under or Trump administration. But the gift he got was a little concerning. The gift that his own people gave him in Washington, D.C.
For those of you who don't know, you've heard several times today already that we did several regulations while the director's been here, and I came at the tail end of one of those. But I know you were very involved in those, and we appreciate the support for that. And on behalf of everyone, so this does not need to be traced
Okay.
nor registered.
That's great.
Thank you for everything.
For those of you that can't tell what that is an 80% lower for an AR-15 platformed firearm. That is illegal in Washington, D.C., New York, New Jersey. I believe they're illegal in California. So as a going away gift, they gave him something that is illegal for him to possess where they gave it to him. So that blonde-haired woman, whoever she is, has committed a felony. He, by accepting it, has committed a felony. Let's see, just so I can make certain I'm right here, let's see, where are 80% AR-15 lowers illegal? Okay, 80% lowers restricted by states. Not available to California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, District of Columbia, Hawaii, Illinois, Maryland, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island. All these states, they're illegal. District of Columbia. And where is he getting this at? The District of Columbia. So he has committed a felony, a gun felony. But he's not going to be charged. She's not going to be charged. It's just because they're members of the elite. Rules for thee and not for me. The pure hypocrisy. They had no shame about it. It's not like they did it as a something private in his office with no cameras around. They did it at a public retirement ceremony with flags and everything else around. They'll just slap you in the face. Hey, we're doing this whether you like it or not. What we would send you to jail for, we're going to do. Okay. And speaking of gun control issues, Tim Walz. We should all be pretty tired of hearing that man's name. Come on. Okay, there it is. Tim Walz backs David Hogg for the DNC vice chair. Come on, what's going on here? Why can't I scroll? Why is this not letting me scroll to the bottom of the article? Let me refresh it here. See, by refreshing it, it'll help me do it. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz endorsed Democratic National Vice Chair candidate David Hogg on Friday, making the latest big name endorsement for Hogg. David Hogg represents exactly the kind of bold, dynamic, and courageous leadership the Democratic Party needs right now. After campaigning with David throughout the country, I know firsthand his unique ability to connect with the American people and speak to the strengths of our party. But remember, the only thing Hogg wants and is famous for is gun control. That's it. That's why he got his free ride through Harvard. Because of the Marjorie Stone Parkway school shooting. And he, with a group of other students, come out pushing real hard for gun control. And the one girl, she, with the Cuban patch on her field jacket that she wore all the time, she was going to become just as famous as Hogg. But then she screwed up and told the truth that the shooter was bullied every day by the students at that school and that he was a weirdo. And as soon as she let that slip, she got dropped by the media as a spokesperson for gun control and for, what happened there at the school. Because they wanted to keep it out there, and I'm not saying that just because a person gets bullied, that excuses them going in and shooting up the school. I'm not saying that one bit. But that is an issue that school bullying, that's the way the school, one of the results of school bullying me, I just use my fist when I finally got fed up with being bullied. Yes, I was one of the kids that got bullied. I was 6'3", 170 pounds. Awkward as hell. I'd rather stick my nose in a book than talk to a girl when I was in high school. I spent in order to get out of homeroom and study halls, I worked the AV lab. So, and I was the kid that, well, actually, I started the idea of recording the football games for the high school or high school football games, so the coaches could play the recording back to see what went on from up above. They weren't doing it until I was a junior in high school. And then I come up with the idea. And for 2 years, that's what I did during football season. I recorded all the home games. So, yeah. And I was bullied. No two doubts about it. And when I did finally get tired with it, I used my fists. I didn't use a gun. But some people, they're going, they don't know how to use their fists. They don't want to use their fists. They want, they resort to other ways. Now, I'm not saying that I approve of it. I'm just saying that's the facts. You don't, when you allow bullying in your school, you don't know what the result of that's going to be. Yes, there will always be bullies in schools. There will always be bullying. There will always be that bully, male or female. In fact, I think more bullies are females than males. Just females have a different way of bullying people. They're not physical about it, they're psychological. They tear you down from your insides. But David Hogg, being a vice chair of the DNC, pushing the anti-gun control. And something I didn't know until I was doing research on Hogg this morning. That punk ass is worth $2 million. He's got a $2 million net worth that he's mostly earned as being an activist going out and speaking on gun control. Now, they talked about his pillow company, and I didn't remember anything about him having a pillow company. David Hogg has given up pillow entrepreneurship and returning to gun control activism. His company, Good Pillow, is meant to rival My Pillow. So he made money trying to sell pillows to, he was going to be the liberal Mike Lindell. That's what, he wanted to be the liberal Mike Lindell. So, and I'll be honest, I'd never even heard of that company, Good Pillow, until this morning. Is Good Pillow even still around? Let me see here. It doesn't look like Good Pillow as a company is still around. Good Pillow Company. So yeah. Yeah, okay, yeah. Bed Bath and Beyond is selling their pillows. So Good Pillow website. I guess they changed their name to Pillow Fight because they forgot to trademark Good Pillow when they started the company. But anyway, that's really about all I had for this morning. Uh, uh, there's just so much out there that is absolutely nuts. Um, oh, Lord have mercy. Yeah, there's not a, the obviously, going back to Zuckerberg and what he's doing, you got Acosta and see the people at CNN absolutely throwing fits all over themselves because they want to censor any opinions if it's not theirs. They're all about censorship. And I may not like a lot of what people say. All right, last night my wife was watching some show on TV, and all of a sudden there's naked women on it, full frontal nudity. I'm like, dear, what in the world are you watching? And she's telling me about this show, and I said, but damn near full frontal, and then later on, lesbian action. And I may not like seeing that on television. I'm just glad that I don't have any children or that my grandchildren weren't staying with us when that was on. And I don't pay for any HBO or any thing like that. So, but I may not agree with what people have to say. I may not agree with what CNN pushes or MSNBC or anything else. Let's get back to that. But I don't want to censor it just because I don't agree with it, just because I don't like it, just because I think it's wrong. As my dad used to say, as wrong as two boys kissing. That doesn't mean that I don't think you shouldn't have the right to say it or show it. Now, in a way, I can understand what the Florida government was trying to do when they said that adult websites that are, accessible in the state of Florida have to do adult verification. And several of the websites have just blocked the state of Florida and the state of Texas and a couple other states that have done it. They said we don't believe in having to do adult verification because it's too hard to do. And many adults, they want to keep it anonymous that they're visiting adult sites for one reason or another. I'm sort of iffy on it. I mean, if I wanted to visit an adult site, I should have to do it without giving up my driver's license to get into it. But I also understand why, you don't want children going into an adult site. But to me, that should be something the parents should be in control of. And again, computers out in the public area of the house, in the living room, in the kitchen, someplace to where the parents can see what the child is doing on the computer. Children with smartphones, you can set up a smartphone to block websites. When I gave my son his first smartphone, I sat down with the tech from the company that manufactured that smartphone, and he showed me how to block it to where my son couldn't do a workaround. And then also blocking from being able to download a different browser. He had to come to us to download apps on his phone. We controlled it. So, yes, it's work. But you're the parent. Being a parent is work. I don't, again, I'm free speech. If you want to say it, you should have the right to say it as long as what you're saying is not violating somebody else's rights. You're not advocating for somebody's death or destruction of their property. I don't understand what's so harmful about that. Why people can't seem to get it through their thick skulls. Because there is no reason to sit there and say, for the nanny state government to sit there and censor people. People will censor other people. And what I mean by that is if you're coming out spreading a BS lie, you will get slammed for it. And it doesn't matter what side of the political aisle or that political circle you're on. If you're out there spreading lies, you're going to get caught about it. No two ways about it. And other people will come and slam you for spreading that lie. They will educate you. And again, it doesn't matter what social media site you're on is going to happen. So, and we're going to see here in the next, 6 days. Will TikTok survive 6 days? That's going to be interesting to see what happens. So, but anyway, guys, gals, I got to get out of here. I want all of y'all to have a good day. Enjoy yourselves. I got to go buy some Xanax because I got another MRI in my future. They don't understand how much I hate these MRI machines. They prescribed me 3 Xanax. It's like, come on. Might as well give me Benadryl. This Xanax doesn't work for me. It doesn't even calm me down any. But they still give it to me. Take one an hour before, take one when I walk in, take one when I get back in the machine. And I'm still claustrophobic as hell. So, anyway, y'all have a good day. Enjoy yourselves. I hope you had a good weekend. Be with the ones you love and love the ones that you're with. And we'll catch